Hello students, going further in chapter 4, that is pair of straight lines. Today we deal with homogeneous equations of degree 2. A homogeneous equation of degree 2. Now this is something which I have learnt in the 10th standard. What is the meaning of degree of a term? As it is given in the definition, the sum of the indices of all the variables in a term is known as the degree of the term. For example, in this expression, x square plus 3xy minus 2y square plus 5x plus 2, we see each term. The degree of x square, the power to which x is raised, is 2. So we say that the degree of x square is 2. What about 3xy? In 3xy, the power of x is 1 and y is also 1. We add both the power. That is the sum of the indices. We add both the indices together and thus we get the degree of this particular term as 2. Then going further, in minus 2y square, again the degree is 2 because the power of y is 2 over here, so the degree is 2. Similarly, for 5x, the degree is 1, and for 2, that is a constant term, degree of any constant term is 0. Only thing is, degree of 0 is not defined. So this is somewhat a revision of what we have learned in our lower classes. We go on to what is the meaning of a homogeneous equation. An equation in which the degree of every term is the same is called a homogeneous equation. Now, the equation of any line is a homogeneous equation because in a line, in a linear equation, just the name suggests it, isn't it? In a linear equation, the degree of each term is 1. Similarly, for example, consider this term. In x square plus 3xy, the degree of x square is 2 and the degree of 3xy is also 2. So this can be called as a homogeneous equation. Same way, the next equation is also a homogeneous equation. The third one is also a homogeneous equation. Just observe it properly. But then what about this equation? 3x square plus 2xy plus 2y square plus 5x is equal to 0. Here, the degree of the first three terms is 2, but the degree of the fourth term, that is 5x, is 1. So we say that this is not a homogeneous equation. Now the general way to write a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y is by writing it as ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0. Just keep this in mind because we will be dealing with it in a further part of the lesson also. Deal with the second theorem of this lesson, that is the combined equation of a pair of lines passing through the origin is a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y. Now just now we saw what is the meaning of a homogeneous equation of degree 2. All the terms will have degree 2 in that particular equation. So now one more thing you keep in mind. When a line passes through the origin, like say this line is passing through the origin. So for this particular line, the constant term is not there. The part C is not there for this particular line that is there. So that is one characteristic which you have to keep in mind for lines passing through the origin. The moment you see such an equation, you can immediately conclude that that particular line passes through the origin. So over here, suppose a1x and b1y is equal to 0 and a2x plus b2y is equal to 0 are the two lines passing through the origin. So in the figure, as you can see, those lines have been given over here. They are passing through the origin. Now from our previous theorem and the previous part of the lecture, we have already learned that for two lines u is equal to 0 and v is equal to 0, we can write the combined equation as u into v is equal to 0. So thus, the combined equation of these two lines would be a1x plus b1y into a2x plus b2y is equal to 0. Now opening the brackets and multiplying the terms together, we get a1 a2 x square plus a1 b2 xy plus a2 b1 xy plus b1 b2 y square is equal to 0. You of course remember how to open the bracket and expand it, isn't it? I don't have to tell you this. Now here in the next step, what do? We take a1 b2 plus a2 b1 because they have xy common. So you put xy outside the bracket, so these two terms come within the bracket. And the rest of the equation we write as it is. Now in this particular equation, we can simplify this further by putting a1 a2 as a1 b2 plus a2 b1, this term in the bracket as 2h, and similarly the third term, that is b1 b2 as b in general. Then we get a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y, that is we get ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0. So thus we can say that the combined equation of a pair of lines passing through the origin is a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y. So thus the theorem can be proved very easily. Now the combined equation of a pair of lines passing through the origin is a homogeneous equation of degree 2. But is the converse true? That is, does every homogeneous equation of degree 2 represent a pair of lines? It need not be the case, because for example here x square plus y square is equal to 0 is a homogeneous equation of degree 2, but it does not represent a pair of lines. Similarly, we know the equation of circle, parabola, hyperbola, ellipse also, which are all homogeneous equations of degree 2, but they do not represent a pair of lines here, isn't it? So how to know whether a homogeneous equation of degree 2 does represent a pair of lines? For that we learn theorem 3. This theorem states that a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y, which is given by ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0, represents a pair of lines passing through the origin if and only if h square minus ab is greater than or equal to 0. So let us see how to prove this. Consider the homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y, that is this given equation. Consider the two cases, that is in the first case we take b is equal to 0, and in the second case we take b as not equal to 0. So in the case 1, suppose b is 0, then in the equation 1 this term by square becomes 0, and as a result we get ax square plus 2hxy is equal to 0. Thus we take x common over here, and so we get x into ax plus 2hy is equal to 0. Now when we separate both the equations, we get x is equal to 0, which is nothing but the equation of the y-axis. Okay, the equation of the y-axis is x is equal to 0, that is one line, one of the lines. And the other line, ax plus 2hy is equal to 0. So thus we can say in this case that the converse of the theorem can be proved as long as b is 0. Now in case 2, in the second case, if b is not equal to 0, then what? Does it represent a pair of lines? Let us see it over here. Now if b is not equal to 0, then we take the equation 1, that is ax square plus 2hxy plus by square, and we multiply it by b. So we get abx square plus 2hbxy plus b square y square is equal to 0. Take this abx square on the RHS. This goes to the RHS. So we get b square y square plus 2hbxy is equal to minus abx square. Let us try to complete the square on the left hand side. So we add h square x square to both the sides. Like this, that is b square y square plus 2hbxy. This was already there. We also add h square x square on both the sides, over here as well as on the RHS. So we get on the RHS h square x square minus abx square. So the LHS becomes a perfect square, which we can write as by plus hx the whole square. And the RHS, we take x square common. So in the bracket we get h square minus ab. So x square is common over here. Thus The LHS now in the next step we keep it as it is, but the RHS, h square minus AB can be written as root of h square minus AB the whole square into x square. Now h square minus AB is greater than or equal to 0. Thus we take all the terms on the LHS. So we get by plus hx square, hx the whole square minus root of h square minus AB the whole square x square is equal to 0. Now this equation is of the form a square minus b square. So you know the factorization for a square minus b square. It is a plus b into a minus b. So it is written in that particular form, as you can see in the next step. It is written in the form a plus b into a minus b. Thus, by taking the x terms, see two terms have x over here in the first bracket as well as in the second bracket. So take x common in the first bracket for these two terms, hx and root of h square minus abx, and similarly in the second bracket also the same thing is done. So this becomes the combined equation of a pair of lines. Which are these lines? These lines are h plus root of h square minus ab x plus by, the first line, as you can see for the first bracket. And the other line, the second bracket, is the other line. So this becomes the combined equation of a pair of lines. And since in both the equations the constant term is not there, we say that both the lines are passing through the origin. So thus, in the second case as well, if b is not equal to 0, as long as h square minus ab is positive or 0, h square minus ab is greater than or equal to 0, as long as that is the case, this equation also represents a pair of lines passing through the origin. So we can write these equations in this particular form that they have given, that is y is equal to m1x and y is equal to m2x, where m1 becomes the first bracket. That is, see, the first bracket is taken on the other side, m1x, that is the first bracket, into x is taken on the RHS. So we get minus h minus root of h square minus ab, that becomes m1. And m2 becomes, this term goes to the RHS. So as a result, m2 we get it as minus h plus, the sign changes when we go to the RHS. So minus h plus root of h square minus ab upon b. Okay, so thus we get it in the form of, both the equations can be written in the form of y is equal to m1x and y is equal to m2x. Thus these lines pass through the origin. So in short, in summary, we can say that this particular equation abx square plus 2hbxy plus by square is equal to 0 represents a pair of lines passing through the origin if, observe the last part, if and only if h square minus ab is greater than or equal to 0. If it is positive or equal to 0. Things to keep in mind. That is, if h square minus ab is positive, then the lines are distinct. As you can see over here, this is a very important condition because we will be using it while solving sums. If h square minus ab is positive, then the lines are distinct, meaning they are separate lines. If h square minus ab is equal to 0, then the lines are coincident. What is the meaning of coincident? The lines are one and the same. Similarly, if h square minus ab is negative, then the equation does not represent a pair of lines. So from this, suppose we are given a homogeneous equation of degree 2 in x and y, we can determine whether it represents a pair of lines or not. Now, the next remark, that is the next point, if b is equal to 0, we saw that one of the lines is the y-axis, whose equation is x is equal to 0 and whose slope is not defined. And the other line has a slope minus a upon 2h. Then the next remark, that is, if h square minus ab is positive or equal to 0, then the slopes of the line, we already saw what the slopes are, isn't it? They are m1 and m2 like this. Now suppose we add both the slopes, m1 and m2, we get m1 plus m2 Upon adding and simplifying, we get m1 plus m2 is equal to minus 2h upon b. Keep this in mind because this is going to be used in our sums. Similarly, the product of the slopes of the lines, that is m1 into m2. When we simplify these two terms, we get a upon b. So, learn it by heart, keep it in mind properly that m1 plus m2 is always minus 2h upon b and m1 m2 is equal to a upon b. It will turn out very useful for you. The quadratic equation in m whose roots are m1 and m2. Again, now it's a revision of your 10th standard. Okay, if the roots are given, if the roots are alpha and beta, you have learnt now how to solve, how to form a quadratic equation from that, isn't it? So, if the roots are m1 and m2, then the quadratic equation in m is given by m square minus m1 plus m2m plus m1 m2 is equal to 0. There is a misprint over here. It is m1 into m2 is equal to 0. It is the same thing as if the roots of a quadratic equation are alpha and beta, then the equation can be written as x square minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha into beta. X square minus sum of the roots into x plus product of the roots is equal to 0. That same thing has been written over here. I am going to so much detail so that you will remember these concepts. Then, so we get m square minus, now m1 plus m2 is minus 2h upon b. Substituting that over here. Similarly, the last term m1 into m2 is a upon b is equal to 0. Thus, simplifying this further, we get bm square plus 2hm plus a is equal to 0. Now this equation is called as the auxiliary equation of equation 1. What was equation 1? It was ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0. So this particular equation is called auxiliary equation of that equation. The concepts have been learned. We come to the exercise part of the lecture. We are again going to go through exercise 4.1, the remaining part. We have already solved question 1 in the last lecture. We are going to start with question 2, and along the way, the similar sums also we are going to solve which come from miscellaneous exercise. So both the parts can be solved at the same time here now. The question is, find the separate equations of the lines represented by the following equations. Last lecture we solved find the combined equation of the lines. Separate equations were given to us. Here we have to find the separate equations. The first one, it is 3y square plus 7xy is equal to 0. It is very easy. Take y common. And thus we get the separate equation as y is equal to 0 and 7x plus 3y is equal to 0. That's all that there is to this sum. The second question, 5x square minus 9y square is equal to 0. We convert it into the form a square minus b square by writing it like this. That is root 5x the whole square minus 3y the whole square is equal to 0. Then we factorize it by writing the terms. That is root 5x plus 3y and root 5x minus 3y is equal to 0. Thus, the separate equations are root 5x plus 3y is equal to 0 and root 5x minus 3y is equal to 0. This sum can be solved in a similar manner to the previous one as an assignment. The fourth question, 3x square minus 10xy minus 8y square is equal to 0. We can solve it like a quadratic equation by splitting the middle term. That is 3x square minus 10. See, you realize that first term into last term becomes a product, isn't it? You have solved quadratic equations. The product is minus 24 and the sum is minus 10. The middle term is a sum, as you remember. So, we split the middle term as 3x square minus 12xy plus 2xy because we realize that minus 12 plus 2 is minus 10 and minus 12 into 2 is minus 24. Thus, we split the middle term and we factorize it by taking the common factors. Thus, we get two brackets and both of them represent the separate equations of the lines. The next sum, I am only helping you out because there is a root given over there. The question is 3x square minus 2 root 3xy minus 3y square is equal to 0. Again, we can solve it like a quadratic. We realize that the product over here is 3 into minus 3, that is minus 9, the first term into last term, and the sum is minus 2 root 3. So we split the middle term like this, that is 2 root 3 can be split into minus 3 root 3 plus 3 root 3, that is. Okay, minus 3 root 3 xy plus root 3 xy. When we multiply, we are going to get 9, and when we subtract, we are going to get minus 2 root 3. You can do it in your mind and see. Now, take the common factors and you can complete the sum by yourself. Pay attention to this sum now. The question is x square plus 2 cosec alpha xy plus y square is equal to 0. Now here we interchange the position of x square and y square. So we get y square plus 2 cosec alpha xy plus x square is equal to 0. Then we divide each term by x square. Thus we get this equation. That is y upon x the whole square plus 2 cosec alpha into y upon x plus 1 is equal to 0. Let y upon x as m. Okay, we take y upon x to be m so that it becomes easier to solve. So we get m square plus 2 cosec alpha m plus 1 is equal to 0, which is a quadratic equation in m. However, we cannot split the middle term over here and solve it. So we solve it by the method of formula. That is, we use the formula method to solve it. The formula method, if you remember in your 10th standard, the roots of the equation by that method are x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. The same thing is done over here. If you observe, m is equal to minus 2 cosec alpha plus or minus root of 2 cosec alpha the whole square, that is 4 cosec square alpha minus 4 into 1 into 1 upon 2a, that is 2 into 1. Then in the next step, we observe in the root that 4 is common. That 4 is taken outside the root sign as 2. Thus we get this particular term. Then also one more thing is observed in the root now. In the root we have cosec square alpha minus 1. By the identities which we learnt last year, cosec square theta minus 1 is nothing but cot square theta. So thus this becomes minus cosec theta minus cosec alpha plus or minus cot alpha. Remember, 2 which is common in the numerator and the denominator is cancelled, and cosec square alpha minus 1 has been written as cot alpha. From the root sign it comes out. So it is cot alpha now. Pause the video if you want and get it properly in the mind. Thus, m is either minus cosec alpha plus cot alpha or minus cosec alpha minus cot alpha. M we are taken as y upon x. So y upon x is either cot alpha minus cosec alpha, the first term, or y upon x can be minus taken common for the next term, cosec alpha plus cot alpha. Now cross multiply, take x on the RHS. So we get y is equal to cot alpha minus cosec alpha into x, or y is equal to minus cosec alpha plus cot alpha x. Then we bring all the terms on one side, and that gives us the separate equations of the lines. Just study this and see if you are understanding it or what. Now this sum is very similar to the previous one. You can try it out as an assignment. Needless to say, all the sums, whether they are assignment sums or no, all the sums, those which are solved also, are supposed to be written in your notebook. This is essential, students, compulsory. Now here I have taken sums which are given, which are of a similar nature, which are given in your miscellaneous exercise 4, page number 131. So these are the sums. The question is same. Find the separate equations of lines represented by the given equations. Very easy questions these are. Write them as assignment in your notebook. We go on to question number 3 of your exercise. That is, find the combined equation of the pair of lines passing through the origin and perpendicular to the lines represented by the following equations. Understand the question properly. They have given us the equation of combined equation of a pair of lines which are perpendicular to the required lines. We are supposed to find the equation of the required lines, and the lines pass through the origin. So here the first equation, this is the perpendicular line pair of perpendicular lines, that is 5x square minus 8xy plus 3y square is equal to 0. Now compare this equation with ax square plus 2hxy plus by square is equal to 0. So we get a is equal to 5, 2h is equal to minus 8 and b is equal to 3. Now let m1 and m2 be the slopes of these lines. Okay, let m1 and m2 be the slopes of the given lines. So what is the sum of the slopes? That is m1 plus m2. We know it from the formulae that we have learned earlier as minus 2h upon b. So here we get it as 8 upon 3. Similarly, product of the slopes m1 into m2, which is a upon b, that is nothing but 5 upon 3. Now, the required lines are perpendicular to the given lines. Do you know the property of perpendicular lines? Yes, their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Good that you remembered it. So, the slopes of the required lines. See, the given lines have slopes m1 and m2. So, the slopes of the required lines are minus 1 upon m1 and the other one minus 1 upon m2. Now, these lines also pass through the origin. So, their equations become y is equal to mx. That is, y is equal to minus 1 upon m1x and y is equal to minus 1 upon m2x. So, thus we get m1y is equal to minus x and m2y is equal to minus x again. Simplifying this, bringing everything to one side, that is LHS, we get these two equations as the equations of the required equations of the lines that is there. Now combined equation, they are asking the combined equation of the lines. So by combining both these equations, we get these two equations this way. And then opening the brackets and solving further, that is expanding the brackets, we get the equations as x square plus m1 xy plus m2 xy plus m1 m2 y square is equal to 0. You can multiply and see for yourself. Taking xy terms, two terms are there having xy. So bringing them commonly under one bracket, we get x square plus m1 plus m2 xy plus m1 m2 y square. Now what is known over here? Think about which quantity, properties are known over here, which quantities are known over here. We know the answer for m1 plus m2, isn't it? We found it out as 8 upon 3. And we also know the answer for m1 m2, which is 5 upon 3. So we substitute that and get this answer over here. Simplifying further, this becomes the combined equation of the required lines. This sum is very similar to the previous one, that is the first sum. You can do it as an assignment using the same steps there. The third question, xy plus y square is equal to 0. Here we have a is equal to 0 because the first term is not there at all. So a is 0, 2h is 1 and b is 1. Now you can solve it in the same way as the previous sum. The next question, 3x square minus 4xy is equal to 0. Here, let us take x common. So in the bracket, we get 3x minus 4y is equal to 0. So the two lines are separate equations of the given lines are, this was the combined equation. The separate equations are x is equal to 0 and 3x minus 4y is equal to 0. Now, suppose m1 and m2 are the slopes of these two lines. Then, m1 does not exist. Because x is equal to 0 is the equation of the y-axis, if you remember. And the slope of the y-axis is not defined. So we say m1 does not exist. What about m2? m2 becomes 3 upon 4. Remember, slope of a line is given by minus a upon b. So doing minus a upon b in the previous equation, we get m2 is equal to 3 upon 4. Now, the required lines which are perpendicular to the given lines. So the slopes of the required lines are minus 1 upon m1 and minus 1 upon m2. Now, minus 1 upon m1. m1 does not exist. That means the value of m1 is infinity, we can say. So minus 1 upon infinity is 0. So the slope of the first line is 0. And the slope of the second line minus 1 upon m2 becomes minus 4 upon 3. So these are the slopes of the required lines. Now the lines also pass through the origin. So their equations can be written like this. That is y is equal to minus 1 upon m1x and y is equal to minus 1 upon m2x. Substituting, we get this way. That is y is equal to 0 and 4x plus 3y is equal to 0. So these are the separate equations of the lines. And we also combine. Of course, we have to combine and find the equation, right? So we combine and get the answer as this. This is the combined equation of the lines. Simplifying, we get this particular equation. Now find the joint equation. Again, similar sums to the previous ones which we did just now are given in your miscellaneous exercise for the same page 131. Try these out as assignment in your notebook. The next question, again this is a question taken from your miscellaneous exercise 4. Show that each of the following equations represents a pair of lines. Very probable question which can come for at least 2 marks in the exam. Very easy method to prove actually. How to prove that the equation represents a pair of lines? Correct. We find x square minus ab and check whether it is positive or 0 and then we conclude. So here the first equation x square plus 2xy minus y square is equal to 0 is given. So a is 1 over here, 2h is 2. From 2h we get h, that is 1, and b is minus 1. Calculate h square minus ab, which turns out to be 2, and 2 is positive, isn't it? And therefore we write that h square minus ab is positive, and therefore the equation represents a pair of lines which are real and distinct. The second sum, again doing in the same way, a, 2h, that is h, and b we find, and we calculate h square minus ab. In this case, h square minus ab turns out to be 0, and so we conclude that the pair of lines are real and coincident. So an easy method, easy sum to do actually, isn't it? These 3 sums can be done as assignment in your notebook in the same way as you did the first 2 sums. The same thing, prove that the given equations represent a pair of lines passing through the origin, or examine whether. Now with this we complete this particular lecture. I know the lecture has been quite long, but that many concepts had to be completed. Without that it would have been incomplete. Okay, so we meet in the next lecture with the next concept of the lesson. So till then, keep healthy, stay safe, keep practicing as well, and do subscribe the channel and like the video and press the bell icon. Bye students.